All right, what's up, guys? We're back with another episode of Monster Talks. Today, I'm really excited because I have Heber Gandara on today. Heber Gandara is an entrepreneur, business owner, master creator. Film. Been in the film game for a long time and camera game for a long time. So, Heber, welcome to the show.
No, thank you for having me.
Thanks, bro.
Well, thank you, appreciate it. Okay?
So, Heber, tell us a little bit how you got your start and everything, man. Because I'm super curious. Like, I know we haven't had a time to talk, even though you and I have crossed paths and we've done business and we've also worked together for many years. Tell me a little bit about how you got started in all this and doing video and starting a business and an agency.
Yes. Well, long time ago. I grew up in Juarez, okay? I grew up in Juarez, and I moved here when I was like around 14, something like that, you know? So when I was like, I think it was like around, when I was 12, okay?
Yeah.
I was part of a group of kids that we have our own TV show, radio, newspaper. That was in Juarez, you know. It was funded by the government, okay, from Juarez, and it gave us the opportunity to, you know, to be on camera and do what we wanted to do, you know. And it was a beautiful experience, you know. So back then, you know, that's when I started getting more into doing the camera, you know. I always wanted to do the camera, grab the camera. It's like, hey, we're gonna shoot this clip, you know, this little segment about like, you know, like something happened, you know, send a good message to the rest of the kids, you know, like about bullying, you know, about, you know, behaving good with your parents, you know, that kind of stuff. And I always wanted to be behind the camera, grabbing it, you know, although I was in front of the camera too, you know, because we had kind of like a newscast, okay? Yeah. It was a lot of fun, you know, to do both things, you know, but I started getting too much in love with the camera, and that's when everything started, you know. When I moved here, you know, on a way I kind of like stopped a little bit that, you know, because, you know, I was not there anymore, you know, and I was going to school over here. I have the opportunity to be on the gifted and talent program when I was in high school, you know, Paso High. Unfortunately, back then there was no cameras, there was nothing. You know, now, you know, one of my kids, you know, it's going to Franklin, and Magnet has like a beautiful program, you know, to do a lot of stuff, you know, with music, you know, video and that kind of stuff. Yeah. So back then there was nothing, you know, so my purpose was going to, my project was about making music videos, so pretty much it didn't happen, okay, but, you know, I was always looking for the opportunity, and that's when everything started, you know. Then after that, you know, that's when, you know, I started going to UTEP, and I, you know, I wanted to get into film, you know. There was only communications there. You know, you remember like, you know, like the whole new wave of filmmaking, you know, independent filmmakers, you know, that's when Quentin Tarantino came out, you know, Robert Rodriguez, that kind of stuff, okay? Yeah. You know, great movies, you know, but a lot of independent stuff came out, and that's when I was thinking to move into Austin. But fortunately, you know, I got to meet Cynthia Ferra, you know. She was a game changer for me, you know. It's a mentor, you know. I hope I can see her, you know, at one point, you know, again in my life, okay? But she was the one that started the program for film studies at UTEP, okay? So talking to other, you know, other students, you know, on communications, they told me, it's like, why you want to move, okay, if there's, you know, there's film here now. And that's when I got to meet her, you know. Immediately, you know, she pretty much, you know, took me under her wing, you know, and she introduced me to so many other people trying to do the same thing, you know. And she's the one that pretty much told me, it's like, hey, don't go to, you know, UT Austin, okay? You're like more than halfway, you know. Here, you know, what you want to start over, you know. Yeah. So might as well finish up here. And yeah, it was a game changer, you know, because that's when I started getting into film, you know, other people's projects, you know, and it was amazing, you know.
And so the films like Quentin Tarantino, films like that, are what inspired you to pick up the camera? Is that what like sparked your interest in film, or was it just like you accidentally fell in it, or what was it that pushed you towards film? And
Since I was little, I used to go to the movies all the time. My mom used to take me to the movies all the time. I loved movies. I think Steven Spielberg, he was like, the one that every movie that I watched, when I was little, it had to do with something with Steven Spielberg, Back to the Future, E.T., Empire of the Sun, Kristen Bell, it was like more like a serious movie, but it's still, an amazing movie, and I was in love with all of those movies, I love to go to the movies, I always was in love with that, and I always say, like, I want to be a director, I want to be behind the camera, doing this, doing that, and people ask me, it's like, oh, do you rather prefer to be in front of the camera? It's like, well, yes and no, okay? I like to have the control in a way, you know what I mean? And it's just being creative, and doing crazy ideas, into putting crazy ideas into a video, into film, that was my dream, and thank God, I've been having the opportunity to do that.
What was the first project that you did that you were like, I really like this, I'm good at it, I can do something with this?
Well, it's hard, because you're always critical, about what you do,
Right.
I did something probably when I was at UTEP, it was like a small commercial. And I told, on the group, I told everyone, it's like, hey, don't worry, I'll do it, and I think that, I just did it for the whole team. And
do you remember what you were shooting at?
It was a commercial, like a spec commercial.
The type of camera.
Oh, it was a VHS camera.
Yeah.
It was a VHS camera. I still have it. Okay, and yeah, I loved it. And I edited. I had
Damn,
VCRs.
back in those days, you used to put the whole cassette in the camera.
Yes,
right,
yeah.
snap it.
The whole thing, and editing tape to tape. Not even like the professional stuff. It was just like 2 VCRs. And you press play, and you start losing quality, going from one to the other,
every
because
time you do it, it's
so
you have to get it right on the first one.
So by the time you are done, putting music and everything, it's like, hey, who's that,
Too grainy, the faces
too
are all
grainy,
grainy.
But at the end, the project, doing something like that, it was a great experience,
What was your first paid film project that you worked on? Was it
my first paid? I did a lot of stuff for free, and an advice to everyone that wants to get into filmmaking, being creative, don't start doing this just because of the money. If you really love it, okay, you have to do a lot of stuff for free. That way you can get the experience, then you can build your name, So it was very interesting, okay, because when I decided to stay here at UTEP, by the way, I didn't know if they were gonna accept me at UT Austin or anything like that, but Raul Rodriguez was there. He not even got accepted, to film school, but it was like everybody's going over there, and when Cynthia Farah told me, it's like, why you don't stay here, you go over there and you're going to be in a huge line, okay, trying to do the same thing as you. Here, pretty much, there's not that much competition, okay? So I got acquainted, because of her with the rest of the people, the filmmaking movement here in El Paso. A lot of people that they were making their own movies, Valentin Sandoval, okay, Ramon. He's now the professor at UTEP, okay, for film studies. It was like some of the first people that I met, okay? Then she later introduced me to Robert Holguin and Larry Lynch, okay? They came into town to shoot a movie on film, and that's when I started learning on film, But, going back to your question, okay, I started doing a lot of that stuff for free, making my own movies, helping each other, with a lot of that stuff, making our own projects. But when I finished school, I was so blessed that I was able to pretty much have work, have a job, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because by doing all of those projects, a lot of people, they saw me, when I was with the camera, people that they went for it to as extras, So I was able to get to contracts, okay, to shoot 2 movies. One, it was actually it was those 2, okay. One movie in Juarez, okay. They had like actors from Mexico. We got that contract. I got into a partnership with another very, very good friend of mine. That when we graduated, okay, she wanted to do something, and we got together and we bought some film equipment, okay, and yeah, that was that movie from Juarez, and also another movie from here in El Paso from a couple of guys that they got together, and one was going to film school somewhere, and they come over here, and they were shooting a movie, about vampires. I don't know if that movie was ever finished, but we got paid. You know what I mean?
Were you on just on the film side, or on the producing and the planning and the
was
strategy,
just like
everything?
pretty much, as working as crew. It was a small crew, but everything was done on film. So by doing that stuff, for free, pretty much. Okay, I learned how to shoot film. Trial by error, like you try this, you try that, I learned from a great photographer, a very, very good friend, Dennis Daly, he's a photographer, but he was a cinematographer for the movie that we shot, okay, and that was very, very professional in many ways. Small crew, and Robert, okay, very good friend of mine. When they came into town, they brought me as a associate producer. So, we had to shoot a lot of stuff in Juarez, a lot of stuff at night.
Yeah.
It was tough, shooting on film at night, lighting, you not even know what you're shooting, okay, at the end, okay, because you don't know how it's going to look until you send it to get developed. It was very interesting. So I was able to learn, So by that time, we were done with all of those projects and plus other movies that we shot, okay. I had enough experience, to get hired and to get paid for that, okay? Yeah. The most interesting story is that after I graduated, I finished with those projects, okay? I got hired by a very, very, very good friend of mine, Ryan Williams. He used to be part of our crew on a lot of these movies, He was working, I remember, at Channel 7, and he was very involved on everything, okay? At the end, he also shot a more like a Hollywood movie, He got married to America Ferrara, But back then, he was more like part of the crew, we were good friends. So he called me, he was going to UT Austin, and he told me, he's like, hey, Heber, would you like to come, and shoot a movie over here? I'm producing this project with another friend. He's like, yeah, sure, and they pay me, they paid, for the shoot, for the stain, the whole thing, and it was kind of like a prophecy what Cynthia Ferra told me, when I got over there, my crew, it was the Association of Film Students of UT Austin. And a lot of them, they were like so surprised, okay, like, hey, where you learn how to do all of these, filming, lighting, the whole thing. Is like, well, pretty much, with a lot of practice, Where do you go to film school? He's like, well, I went to UTEP. Everybody's like, do they have film school over there? He's like, well, they have a minor in film,
Yeah.
He's like, wow, He's like, a lot of people from here, they just graduated, they would have done it for free.
Yeah.
Just to get the experience,
It's one of the things I push to the younger guys.
Yeah.
To the younger guys that are filming, like, you got to put in that time, man. Because you're also comparing notes with other people, and you're learning along the way. So you're honing your craft, you're getting practice, and that's how you become a master at your craft, right?
Practice, and yeah, when I got over there, that's what they told me. But a lot of those students, they didn't have any practice, Since I had the practice,
Absolutely.
I got over there and I was getting paid. And pretty much it was like a prophecy. It's like,
Yeah, no, I think sometimes it's a false sense, that we get out of college and we get out like, all right, we're ready for that big job, right? But you have to put in that time, man, and part of it is starting and getting that hands-on experience, and that's good that you say that, because it's been a lot of part of my journey, and a lot of the people that I've interviewed, that's exactly what they say as well, man. We had to do a lot of free stuff. We had to do just to get our name out, to build our network, build our connections, and build from there.
Definitely, I know some people. I had some people at Axess, okay, that has, they went to production, school, and when they graduate, okay, they're looking for a job, and they start working with us. There's like, this has nothing to do, with what I learned over there. It's like, yeah, you learn over there pretty much a lot of good stuff, okay, but to apply it, that's where it gets very, very interesting, because sometimes you already shoot that you have to improvise, okay? You're not gonna have a full crew, and you just have to figure it out, okay? Or probably you don't have a slate, okay, to sync, and you just have to clap, or you just like have to figure it out, a storyboard in your head, that way you can shoot very, very fast. And
off of every shoot, I always have a lesson that's learned off of every shoot, man. Like, okay, I need to get that tool, or I need to make sure for next time I come prepared with this, or even something as simple as a cleaning rag for your lens,
Yes.
How many times have you shown up and like, shit, I don't got to, and you don't want to clean your lens with a shirt or something,
Yes,
things that are super simple, but it helps us to grow, and it's part of the game. Right?
It's part of the game, You learn, there are certain things that you think you might need, and in reality you probably don't need it, It's just the perception, and sometimes perception is reality, I remember like back on the day, just like one matte box, how much it cost, okay? It was like $1,500, okay? It's like, what is this? It's just a shape, you know what I mean? But it's like, I need to have it. Yeah, maybe not all the time you need it, okay? Now you can get matte boxes for $200, you know what I mean, or less than that, because now it's more accessible, there's more demand, there's more people doing production, there's more people, there are more filmmakers, As soon as you grab a camera and start shooting your own stuff, you automatically you are a filmmaker, And back on the day, it was, I'm talking about like 30 years ago, 20, even like 20 years ago, okay? It wasn't the same thing, everything was too expensive,
Very difficult to get
in. And now, you can have an iPhone, and you literally you can shoot a movie with an iPhone on 4K, something that you can project at a movie theater, you can go to Cinemark, and watch it over there,
And now you can just put it up on social media. You don't have to spend tons of money for a TV commercial, right? Because that was the only way to get the word out to a lot of people, right?
Definitely.
Today, everybody has that ability to get out there, right?
Oh yes, it's beautiful. It's the best time, you know. If you want to become a filmmaker, right now is the perfect time.
So tell me a little bit, how did Axess Multimedia come to be? Like, how did you ever picture yourself being a business owner, and like, did you plan it? How did it start? When did it start?
It pretty much it happened since I was little. My mother kind of like, put the seed on me. If you ever want to be successful, not necessarily for everyone, but for me it was like, successful in a way, like if you want to, have money or this, pretty much you have to put your own business, So it was something that when I moved into the U.S., okay, that was my main purpose, for me, my main dream, it was to have my own production house. And I remember when I was going to UTEP, okay, going back again, those decisions, it's like, should I stay here? Should I do this? Should I do that? Okay. I remember going into communications, okay, but you get like those things in your head, like, what about if I cannot make it? You know what I mean? What about if, there's no money? What about if there's no enough, there's no business here in El Paso, And I was like, you know what? I started getting psychology classes, and my respect to all the psychologists, okay? Especially right now, nowadays, mental health is so important, okay? But unfortunately, a lot of, professionals on the psychology side, they don't make a lot of money unless you go into a master's or a doctorate, And I started like doing some research, and it's like, you're not gonna be making a lot of money or getting like an easy, a job so easy if you graduate, okay, on psychology, okay. I was like, okay, so what else I can do? It's like, I know, I want to have my own business. I'm gonna go into business, okay. But you start going into business, it's like all these math classes, which I like, it's okay, but this is what I like, okay? I
Yeah.
like to start shooting, you know, and I
Yeah.
was shooting already my own videos, you know, movies, you know, with a VHS camera. It's like, this is what I really want to do, you know?
Yeah.
And that's when
What part of it do you think that you're attracted to? Is it being creative? Is it
it's being creative, you know?
Yeah, I
it's
think
like,
so too.
yeah,
I think for me, the other day, Devin and I were out at a shoot. I usually don't get out to shoot, but I was like, man, this is such a, we're in 102-degree weather.
Oh.
But I'm like, man, but it was a breath of fresh air just from all the normal stuff that us as business owners, we have to be dealing with, right?
Yeah.
But that's why I like to be creative as well too. Creating there's nothing like it.
It's nothing like it, you know. I remember like shooting those movies on the desert, you know,
Yeah.
going to the desert, being there, you know. It's like it's 105, okay, and you're sweating, but just the excitement that, oh, I'm shooting this action sequence, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm doing this fun stuff, you know, and it's amazing, you know.
Yeah.
Just like being there, you know, like all the dust, but you really need to like it, okay?
Yeah.
I tell a lot of people, if you like production, don't think it's that glamorous, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, they go into that, you know, misconception that it's like, oh, you're just gonna show up, makeup, lights, you know, action.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's you get over there, you know, and you get your hands dirty.
You're
you know,
hauling gear,
it's
yeah.
like you're working a lot of the times on heavy duty
Yeah.
jobs, you know, construction and that kind of stuff. You know, you can be on the roof, you know, with a camera, or you can be on the floor trying to get the best angle, you know,
Yeah.
and that's the beauty about that. Okay, that you have no limits. Okay,
Yeah.
you are gonna do whatever it's gonna take to get the best shot. Okay,
Yeah.
it's interesting because right now, you know, you see a lot of TikTok videos, okay,
Yeah.
with all these filmmakers, you know, these people making videos, okay, and they do this, you know, and that, you know, and
Yeah,
they put it
yeah.
into water, you know, it's fun,
It's
you know,
cool, man.
it's
It's
so
cool,
cool,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and you know, the equipment, okay, the size of a camera, you know, what you can do now,
Yeah.
it's amazing because it gives you more flexibility, you know. I also work on news for a like, it was like 3 years, you know, but I was doing my own production at the same time,
Yeah.
okay? And I remember like back then, you know, like big camera, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's not the same thing, you know. Now, you know, you have a small camera and you get better resolution, you know, than a 60mm camera,
Yeah,
you know, even a 35mm camera that used to be on the 70s, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's amazing what is out there, you know. It can give you the flexibility and the freedom to
Yeah.
do whatever you want.
So I know we kind of veered off a little bit, but how did Axess Multimedia start? Because I'm genuinely curious about how
So,
you
well,
started.
I was going into, I was like, I'm gonna get into film, into business, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I was going into that. It's like thinking like, okay, I'll get a good job, you know, business administration, something like that, you know. I make enough money and I put my own production house.
Yeah.
That was my mentality, okay?
Yeah.
It's still like going into business, but putting my production house, you know?
Yeah.
Then it's like, that's when I got acquainted with Cynthia Ferrer. I was like, you know what? Forget about that, okay? Why I just don't go for what I love to do and I just go 100%. And that's
Yeah.
when I started making, you know, movies on video. You know, I did a movie on a VHS camera. You know, it was not just clips anymore. It's like, oh, I'm gonna make my own movie, you know, and getting involved on other projects, okay? And that's when I decided I'm just gonna go 100%, okay? And when I graduate, okay, I'm gonna put my own production house, okay? And that's when I got those contracts, okay? So pretty much, you know, it didn't happen by accident, okay? But at the same time, it happened by accident because, well, you know, I was so blessed to be able to get those contracts, okay?
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what started the whole thing, you know? Then after that, okay, of course, you know, here in El Paso, you're not making movies every weekend, you know? Well, now you are, you know? But back then, you know, it's not like you have the budget or you have someone that wants to shoot a movie every week or something like that, you know? It wasn't gonna be something steady, okay? And that's when we sold the equipment that we had, you know, and I started working at a production house, okay? We shot some commercials on 35 millimeter, but it was only for a brief period of time. It was like 6 months, because I told them, it's like, I have my own thing, you know?
Yeah.
I need to keep going with what I like, okay, with all the respect, okay?
At that point, had you established Axess Multimedia?
It was
you had
more,
a logo, you had everything already?
Not yet. It was
Okay.
more like a thing that I was doing for my house. I have an edit bay in my house, and you know, I was renting cameras, okay, because you know, back then, you know, it was not that, you know, cheap to have a camera. You know, it was like, if you want to a real professional camera, you have to spend like $30,000, $40,000. You know, also it's something that it was a game changer. It was Final Cut Pro. That's when Final Cut Pro came out. Okay, although on PCs, okay, you have the opportunity to edit also with Premiere. You know, Final Cut Pro kind of like changed the whole thing because of the rendering and the whole thing, you know.
That's good that you mentioned Final Cut Pro, because we don't look, when you look back retrospectively to how you got started, there's little things that happen within the industry that spark things. Like I was just watching a thing, and so we started Monster Link in 2012, but the idea was birthed. And the big thing that I've noticed now looking back was the iPad came out in 2010. January of 2010, the iPad was actually announced. You know, we never had iPad. 2010, you think it's been around forever, right?
Yes.
And I think that's what changed the game as well. But like you said, Final Cut Pro came out. It changed the game. It pushes us faster into the foreground. It gives us a competitive advantage to be able to compete and to go in.
Yes, yeah. It was very appealing. It was not that expensive. There was a lot of opportunities for students to buy the computer. You know, I don't know if you remember those green and white, you know, Mac. That they look super
they were
cool.
like
you know,
round.
Yes, yeah, they were
they had
amazing.
the big back,
you know?
and they had a handle in the back.
It was like it was amazing. You know, I still, you know, probably I might just get one just to have it over there, you know.
That'd be good. That should be dope to get one of those old Macs in the back, man.
I remember, you know, of course, you know, it was only like 1 gigabyte of memory.
One gig. That was the capacity of it, man.
Oh, the capacity. So you edit something, you have to dump it into tape, okay, going back again. But it was getting, that's when it started, the non-linear editing, instead of like doing tape to tape, okay, not losing any resolution, and being able to do color correction, you know, animation and that kind of stuff, okay. So I was working more for my house, but it was already, you know, Axess Multimedia.
Were you working a full-time job and then doing this, or?
I was working at Channel 7, you know. I started working at Channel 7. From there, from the production house, I started, you know, getting more involved to do production and you know, commercials, infomercials, and I was working part-time on Channel 7. I was there like for probably 3 years. I think it was 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And my wife, okay, back then, you know, we started working, doing some projects together. You know, she graduated on marketing as well, so she was doing the marketing for a hospital. So she hired me to do that stuff, okay. And we were already boyfriend, girlfriend, you know, and you know, she's a kind of like the one that helped me out a lot, okay, to establish it 100%, okay. And you know, working with your partner, you know, having someone that is gonna support you and everything. My wife has been a bless, okay, and I think I've been very, very blessed with my whole family. You know, my mom always, you know, took me to watch movies when I was little, you know, and my mom always supported me 100%, okay, in what I wanted to do it, okay. Although it was kind of tricky, you know, it's like, is he really gonna make something out of this, you know? I remember like for her, you know, investing, buying me that VHS camera. It was a big expense for her, you know, because it's not like we had any money, you know, my mom working hard, you know, and I started working, you know, having like part-time jobs, you know, since I was, you know, young, you know, so it was like, I'll make something, you know, it's like, what can I do, you know, like weddings, quinceañeras, like what, you know, but she always supported me, you know, then, you know, I found, you know, my partner for you know, my wife, okay, and she supported me right from the beginning, although we, you know, we were not like, you know, I was production, she was marketing, you know, we're not exactly on the same field, but at the same time, you know, it it was the same, or that it was on the same field. Let's put it that way, and she understood perfectly, okay, all the production aspects, okay, and yeah, that's how everything started to become more established.
Yeah.
From Channel 7, I had the opportunity to be hosting the morning show for Univision, and that's when I was like, should I do it? Should I not? Because it was a morning show. It's like, you know what? It's a great idea because, I'll go super early in the morning. I'll be done by noon, and I can do production, after that. Well, it didn't work out that way, okay? Because by the time you're done by noon, you're pretty much drained by the end of the day, You're tired, you're tired because you have to wake up super early. So what happened there, I stayed there almost like for 3 years as well, doing that TV show and doing the radio. But I decided, after like 6 months being there, I decided like, I'm not gonna pursue any more clients. I'm gonna stay with the clients that I have, and that's it, okay? I'm gonna serve those clients well, on the afternoons, on the weekends, So pretty much I was like, I had 2 jobs, doing my production, but being in the morning show. And it worked out in a way, but it was very, very exhausting. So by the time I left, Univision, that's when, my wife and we decided to go full, 100% into the advertising agency because, and you can understand this perfectly, okay, because you have both, okay? When you're just doing production, you're relying from other advertising agencies, independent, people doing, production or businesses, when you're an advertising agency, okay, pretty much you can, you can do both, okay, and it's different, okay. You have more control, of what you can do, because you can propose things to the client, and the client, will listen to you, because you're also the advertising agency, and the good thing is that my wife, she worked at an advertising agency as well. She had the experience, and pretty much when I went to school, I learned all of that stuff, advertising, production, going back to what we were talking before, we started the podcast. It was not, you don't go. How can I explain? You don't learn all of that stuff in school. It's more the practice. The practice that you
Sometimes
have.
it's trial and error.
Trial and error. Then, but at least, okay, you have like some knowledge that can get you started.
Do you have any other family members or anybody else that was entrepreneurs that inspired you to say, hey, I want to do my business? I know you say your mom kind of pushed you on.
Yeah, not really. Really? My mom, is the one that, when we moved here to El Paso, okay, pretty much, she sold everything, that we had in Juarez, and we didn't have anything. We not even had a car, and we used to have a car in Juarez, she sold, had a house, everything, we live at an apartment, okay, humble compared to what we had in Juarez, okay? And I remember like walking, going to downtown, to get groceries, but it was beautiful times, I loved it, I still remember those times, and it was just like, having the dream, you're coming to the US, okay? And literally, having the American dream, what is gonna happen, okay? And working hard, it's just about working, there's no luck in this world, you know what I mean?
There's some good in those hard times, right? Because they set they set the foundation for your work later on in life.
It's always working hard and having the hunger, to do something, so it was being hungry, and at the same time, okay, it's like, hey, look what my mom is doing, I'm an only child, pretty much raised by my mom only, and it's like, I cannot screw it up, you know what I mean? Don't screw it up ever, okay? You need to do this, there's so many distractions, a lot of fun, I also had a lot of fun here and there, but it's like, you need to do something,
Stay focused with it.
Stay focused and
so,
follow your dream.
That's good that you mentioned, about you working. I think like when people ask me, I tell them that's the formula.
Yes.
Work full time, you work on your business on the side, man. Unless you have all this money in the bank, you've got to fund yourself, right? you got to fund your own project along the way.
Oh yes.
And that's how you move up, right? And
Yeah.
then at some point, and you say, okay, I'm making enough money here. Now I can let go of this, and you take it on. And at first, it's scary, right?
It can be scary, you know, especially going like full time, okay, into your own business.
Yeah.
But it's a step. It's a hardest step, you know, because you always want to have that part time there, you know, that is like, yeah, it'll pay the bills, you know.
Yeah.
But in reality, you know, you're already making enough, you know, on your own business if you're doing the right stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But always stay focused, you know. Always stay focused. It's a beautiful experience, you know, when you start, you know, when you start getting your own clients, you know, and you know that they're happy with you, you know.
Yeah.
You learn how to work with clients and know what they want, you know,
Yeah.
and you guide them, you know,
Yeah.
you know, how they can get where they want to be, okay?
Yeah.
One of my mentality about dealing with clients, okay, I don't like to show up and tell a client exactly what to do, you know, because,
Yeah.
you know, if it's a restaurant, you know, if it's a hospital or if it's, you know, a lawyer, I'm not going to tell the lawyer, the restaurant or the hospital how they want, how they have to run their business, because they're experts, okay? For some reason, they have that business, okay?
Yeah.
I can guide them, you know, how they can reach to the people that they like, or not that they like, that they are targeting, you know, by doing certain things, okay? But I need to learn, I need to listen what they want.
Yeah, no, I think part of, you know, and seeing you and your journey too is like not only having the skill to get the work done,
Yes.
but you know how to talk to people, which
Yes.
is also important in what we do. You need to be able to, you know, be a man of your word and come through for people. You need to know how to talk to people and make them feel comfortable behind the cameras, because this stuff can be intimidating for a lot of
Yes.
people, right? But I've seen that in your growth. So how many years have you had Axess already now?
Oof, literally, it's like 20 years, you know,
Damn,
when we
20.
got established, but everything started like 27 years ago, you know. So it was like 7 years, you know, of doing like freelancing,
Yeah.
you know. I did a lot of freelancing for sports, you know, when, you know, there was games that they were coming to El Paso, at UTEP and MSU, you know, for cable, you know, a lot of stuff for ESPN, also Fox Sportsnet, you know, boxing matches, you know, HBO.
Yeah.
You know, I love boxing, you know, and now UFC, you know,
Yes,
it's I know you're the expert on that, okay? But you know, all of that stuff, you know, I used to be on the, you know, I used to be on the blue corner, you know, doing the camera, you know, the handheld camera in the ring for a lot of boxing matches that you know, that happened here in El Paso. I did also some stuff out of town. It was a beautiful experience, you know, being there, you know, meeting a lot of personalities in sports, you know.
Yeah.
It was amazing, okay, but it gets to a point where it's like, okay, I need to move into your level, okay, and that's when, you know, I started moving like 100% into my business. But that was also a beautiful experience, you know.
Yeah, no, I think, you know, when I look at everything in our relationship, when I first met you, you were an inspiration to a lot of us younger guys that were I say younger now, shit, you know, but at that time, you had your office over on the west side. It was a small,
Yes.
but I'm like, man, this is cool, man. I gotta have something like this, right? And you know, I thank you for that. And you've always been help for me and for other people, man. You've always extended a hand.
Yeah.
It's important, I think, that we also work together in the industry. You know, when that we support some of the younger guys coming out in their
yes.
dreams and what they're doing. I've had a lot of people help me along the way as well too, but you were one of those people that
Thank you.
that inspired
Appreciate
me,
it.
man, and I thank you for that. I was like, it was one of the things that's weird, and I know you and I have talked about this, is there's not a lot of Latino representation in marketing here,
Yes.
especially in El Paso. We're thinking about it. You know,
Yes.
there's not a lot of owners that are Latino. You know, so you were probably one of the first ones, man. One of the first ones.
Probably, yes.
Yeah, well, probably one of the first ones to do it like that and to break out,
Yes.
and to where people actually took you serious and hired you, and you started getting contracts with the city and
Yes.
you know, bigger contracts, what people would say bigger contracts. What was that like, and how do you did you ever think about that, or you're just like, I'm going full forward, don't even think about that?
You know, it's more like I was just like thinking, you know, like, you know, I always, you know, like they said, like shoot to the moon and you might fall, or shoot to the sky and you might fall on the moon or something like that. You know, I always been thinking, you know, like just do it, okay?
Big.
Let's, you know, I always think big, you know, and the bigger that you think, you're gonna land somewhere, you know, that is big, okay? If you think small, okay, then you're always gonna fall like right here, you know? So it was more like, I knew things can happen, okay? But sometimes you don't know, you know, what is it gonna be, you know? But, you know, it's very interesting, you know, because when you think, you know, like getting the first client, okay, even like now it can be a super small client, the excitement, okay, and getting big client, okay, now it's like, you know, it was the same sentiment, you know what I mean? Because it's the excitement, you know, the happiness, you know. I remember like when you know, as an agency, okay, having my family, you know, my kids, you know, I had my first son, and you know, knowing that you can provide for your family, it's a beautiful sentiment, you know. It's a beautiful feeling, you know, like, oh, you know, I'm doing something right. You know?
Yeah, you're a true entrepreneur. You've started to branch out and do other investments and stuff like that. Can you talk a little bit about that and what that's like, and where you start like, okay, I'm going to start branching out. I know you and I have talked about this, and you say I've accomplished, you know, pretty much everything that I've set out to do in this world. What are some of the new ventures that you got your mind set on these days? That you're,
you know, the diversification is always important. Especially, you know, right now I'm 48, okay? So I need to think more about my retirement, okay? The retirement of my wife, okay? You know, think about my kids, okay? I have an autistic son that is a bless, you know, to our family, okay? But thinking like, what is going to be the future for them, you know? You know, you always have to think, you know, what is exactly where you see yourself like in another 10 years, you know, it's not the same thing, you know, especially like in production. We're talking about like, it's a heavy duty job, you know, you know, probably I'm not going to be able to be like on the floor shooting like that, you know, I'm going to need like someone to help me out to stand, you know, and that kind of stuff.
Conversation that Raul and I are having,
it's, you know,
carrying this heavy gear, man, getting up on ladders and doing all sorts of crazy shit,
anything can happen, you know. I you know, like talking about like doing those sports gigs, you know, like being on boxing. I remember that one, you know, at the end, my back was killing me, you know, because, you know, having this camera, doing handheld in the ring, you know, like for 4 hours, you know, and to top it off, at the end, you need to wrap your cable, okay, that is like a cable like this, you know, going from, you know, getting into like the Don Haskins, to give you an example, or NMSU, you know, going from the field, you know, pretty much from the court, okay, going all the way outside, you know, where the satellite truck is, you know, and doing that stuff is a huge workout, okay? So it's like, ay, caray, you know, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to handle it, okay? But yeah, you know, thinking about that, is like at one point you have to realize that you have to, you know, think about your future. And it was, you know, I've been always like looking for other things that I can do, you know, and I, you know, been on different, you know, other businesses, you know, one of the most successful ones, it's the automotive industry. Okay, I partnered with two very good friends, Rudy Arrocha and Jay Welch. Okay, both of them, you know, Rudy more into the digital side, you know, also an expert. Okay, when it comes to automotive digital, and Jay Welch, I can tell you, is like really one of the best, you know, managers, you know, that I have met, you know, in the automotive industry. Well, we had the opportunity to team up together, you know, and open what is called now Right Drive. Okay, Right Drive, it's a used car dealership auto group. Okay, right now we have 4 locations in El Paso, and we also have one location in Muncie, Indiana. So it has been a great experience. We opened like around 4 years ago, and we're going pretty strong, and that's another business, that I diversified, and I think that one, is the people, that I partner. They're very good people, very ethical, very hardworking people. We very hungry. That's very important. Very hungry, Rudy and I, knew, Jay, because we worked together on so many projects, and when we had the opportunity, to have Jay on this, this idea, it was a big blessing, to he comes with a lot of experience, he's our CEO actually, and he has been able to guide the whole auto group on many ways, and all of us working together, it has been a beautiful experience, it's tough, on many ways, business wise, mentally, it's tough on many ways, and it's an investment, okay? It's an investment, but sometimes you have to give a lot of things, okay, to be able to have success, and especially time, especially freedom, on many ways, but you do it for a certain time, then you recuperate all of that, because if you do the right thing, even the money that you invested, you're gonna get it back, okay? But you need to put the work first.
Yeah, that's one thing I've always noticed about you. You and I would be texting, and if I text Ebed at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, he's up and he's working right there, right with me, and he's been doing it for a long time, man. It's inspiring for especially like for a younger entrepreneur. Myself, I've been in business 11 years now, but yeah, some days you feel like, man, this is a crazy mountain. Like you look back and like this is crazy what we've done. Sometimes you feel like, man, do I just want to go back and do a regular job? You have the ups and downs and the doubts.
You're never going to be able to do a regular job.
No, I don't think I'll be. I don't think I ever. I tell people I've never had to show my college degree to anybody.
Oh yeah.
Never. I got my college degree and I never showed it to anybody. It's sitting. I don't even know where it's at. So. But this has probably been one of the most fulfilling things that I've ever done in my life. It brought out the fire in me. I already had fire in me, but it brought it out on another level where there was no time limits. I love it. People are like, oh my God, I'm so exhausted just listening to you talk about what you do. But I'm like, it's just when you love what you're doing, there's no time limits. There's no cutoff time for me. I can just talk about this all day. I go to people are sick of it. I just go to parties. All I talk about is the business.
Yes, that happens. And yeah, I can tell you that with you, Raul, ever since I met you, you're sharp. Okay, you always been there. And recently we've been able to talk more. To know each other. For the past few years. And I want to congratulate you because you're doing everything right. I can see your team, you have a great team, everything that you have accomplished, all the equipment, okay, all the clients that you have, okay, but something that is very important is the culture of the business and the environment, okay? And I can see all the excitement with your people,
Thanks,
and you have a great team, okay? But it comes from you, and you're always there, you're always grinding, you're always working, But at the same time, okay, when we say like, you're always working here and there, it's not a bad thing, because you're doing something that you love. That you love, okay?
I know you said it earlier. If you're doing it for money, man, you're in the wrong. And so it's a big thing to me, man, because I'm like, look, if you just stick to what you're passionate and you work hard, man, the money will be there. Don't worry about it. It's gonna come, man. You're gonna have that, but don't lead with that, because then you're gonna easily be discouraged,
Oh yes.
So you gotta put in the work, and we've been, I've been 20 years doing marketing, 20 fucking years.
It goes fast.
And it goes very fast, right? But I started as audio tech, and I started just hauling gear around. Even to this day, I'll haul gear around. Everything that I ask any of these guys do, I'll do it myself too, because you know, I'm not scared of that work. I'm not scared to go back, you know. The hard times that you grow up with set you up for later on in life, right? And so I'm not scared of hard work. It doesn't scare me. But thanks. I appreciate the good comments and stuff. And but I look at, you know, you guys, man, and people that have done it before me and paved the way, and you guys are inspirations to me, and it pumps me up to be like, man, I can do this too, man. I can do that. And you guys have been a lot of great help. You personally have been a lot of great help,
Oh,
and
thank you,
where
bro.
people can be like, nah, you know what, you know, we're not gonna help that guy or something. You've always lent a helping hand ever since, even when I was just hauling a camera around. You've always been very helpful, and that speaks a lot, you know, because people remember that, and people value that. And you know, people early on in the game, like Morris and people that put me on early on, I'm always very loyal to them because of you know, their help. They set the foundation for us.
Yes.
And like you mentioned, people that inspired you early on in your life. But those are good takeaways. What can you say to somebody that's trying to get started in this, like early on in this game, to these younger guys that are filming? Like, what's the piece of advice that you tell them to be able to have a long, successful career in filmmaking and in business?
You know, my advice, it's, you know, like you said, you know, it's do it because you love it. Don't do it for the money. Of course, you know, you need to live out of something, you know, but have kind of like a plan, a short-term plan, and also a long-term plan. You know, where do you see yourself? Okay, visualize yourself. Where do you want to be? What do you want to do? You know, work hard, very, very hard. You know, somebody was saying, I don't remember who, but you know, two important sayings. You know, someone was saying, like, you know, right now new generations, they think they want to make a lot of money, but they're not willing to put the work. You know, everybody is getting used to instant gratification. You know, and that's good. You know, it's okay. You know, but what comes fast goes fast. Okay, that's why you see a lot of people that they win the lottery and they lose it because they don't know what to do with it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, you know, put the work, okay, and you're gonna learn. Something very interesting what you said. You know, you have done everything. I have done everything. Everything that you can imagine. You know, I have shot anything that you can imagine, okay, and you know what is there to be on the camera. You know what is to be holding the boom mic, okay. You know what is to be pulling cables, okay. So whenever you are gonna be asking for that from someone, you're gonna be able to know if that person really wants to do it or if they don't want to do it, okay. There are people that, you know, they pretty much graduate and they want to go straight and just start directing, okay? There's nothing wrong with that, okay? But, you know, you also have to, you know, realize, okay, that probably not, you know, there are people probably, you know, that they start directing and automatically they do a home run and they have the money to do it, okay? And that's it, okay? But let's think more like like on a regular, you know, regular, how I can say it, okay, you know, like how things happen regularly, okay? You need to put the work, okay? So if you graduate, okay, start putting the work, okay? If you want to be a director, of course, start directing your own videos, okay? But help, okay? Always put the work, okay? Put the work and yeah, you know, expect the best. Expect the best, okay? If it happens in 2 days, in 3 days, in 4 days, good, you know, but never stop, never get discouraged. I think that the most beautiful lesson in life is when you fail on something, you know, because you learn, you know, if you really can handle it, okay? If you fail in something and you stand up, good, you know what I mean? Nowadays, a lot of people, they don't do well, you know. If they go and give you an example, okay, in this kind of business, they go and present to someone to get the client doesn't want to hire them, they just like, no, I'm not good on this or anything like that. No, you have to be persistent, okay? You have to be persistent, and especially now, there's more competition than before because now pretty much there's a lot of cameras out there, you know? It doesn't mean that just because you have a camera now you're an expert. No, you have to play with the camera. You have to make your own videos, okay? I see people that they make videos with one simple camera, one simple lens, and they look like if they shot it with a red camera, and the most expensive lenses,
Yeah.
And you also see people that they shoot with the most sophisticated camera with the most sophisticated lenses, and the videos they don't look good,
Yeah.
So it's up to the people, it's up to you, go out there, and practice, do what you love, and don't quit. Don't quit. You're gonna learn on the process, okay? I really love doing, filmmaking, but
Yeah.
I realized that one of my niches, it was gonna be advertising production, because I started doing more advertising production. I also like money, okay? So
Yeah.
I noticed that, I was getting paid very well, by doing that,
Yeah.
because, my commercials were being very successful,
Yeah, yeah.
So it's those things, I love music videos, okay? But at the same time, okay, it's like, you can make music videos, you can
Yeah.
make your movies, but you also need to make money, so
That's
you
it's a
go,
great lesson, yeah.
you need to be staring, and
Yeah.
see where it's gonna be the best thing, but never stop.
Yeah.
Always work hard, and always be very positive, very, very positive.
Yeah, you're not going to always be able to work on everything you want 100% of the time. Like you
Yes.
said, you may see there's more opportunity and money, and you
Yes.
learn to love it along the way. You learn to
Yes.
love the grind, and you
Yes.
teach yourself how to love it. I think Mike Tyson had a great quote with that, that you teach yourself how to love the things that you don't want to, and that's discipline, right?
That's discipline, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when I started, in production and all of this, yeah, there was like people that they were saying like, ever, he's not gonna make it, It's
Yeah.
like, that's it, okay, it's yeah, whatever, it's not like, wow, but it's being positive, have
Yeah.
passion for what you love, okay, and don't listen to the rest, okay, they're not paying your bills, okay, if you are focused on what you want, okay, and you're responsible for yourself, not the rest, okay, always keep it to you, you know what I mean? Sometimes telling everyone what you want to do, it's like, yes, I'm gonna make a movie about this, and I'm gonna be very successful and everything. Don't say it. Just do it. Then show it, okay? But don't say it, okay? It's better,
Yeah.
It's, I also believe.
Put your head down and work.
Yes,
Keep working.
put it. Yeah, just
Yeah.
be a doer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't be a talker. And that's even better. So if you put all your energy on that, okay, I firmly believe on energy and that kind of
Yep.
things. Yeah, a lot of the times when you talk about it, okay, it's energy that once you say it, okay, it's gone.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't accomplish it.
One of the key things that you said is a lot of people can reach success one year, one
yeah.
day, one shot, one project, right? But it's a marathon,
Yeah.
and to sustain success over 20 years, how you have, is very tough, man. There's
Yeah.
not a lot of
Yeah.
people doing
Thank
it.
you.
So
Thank you.
that's a good lesson, especially for the younger guys on stuff like that. Do you do any other continued education? Do you continue to educate yourself along the way? Do you read books? What do you do to be able to continue to stay sharp in what you're doing?
I like to, always be very informed, when it comes to, what are the trends, for production, always to be looking, even reading articles, watching YouTube videos. This is a beauty, about this era, pretty much what you want to learn. If you have like an idea, how can I do this special effect? How I can do this scene? How I can do this? You go to YouTube, you pretty much put it there. There's gonna be a 16-year-old, from India, saying like, okay, this is how you do this special effect, okay? So
Yeah.
it's beautiful, because there's gonna be someone, that is willing to share their knowledge, okay, with the rest, okay? That way you can do the same thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's pretty much everything is out there, it's the way that you do it and you apply it, okay? But yeah, I like to be always, being consistent, okay, and trying to see what's going on,
Little experience. Like you said, I'm very critical of my work.
Yeah.
We share that. I always talk with Devin about it. Like, you're going to look at your work from last year and you're going to be like, that was crap, man.
Yeah.
You're always evolving, but
Yeah.
that's one key thing that I hear in what you're telling me too, is like,
Yeah.
you're always evolving, you're always learning, you're always continuing to, try to see what's the next best thing and how you're, especially in our world, right? Especially today, because from one camera to the next, like, cameras used to be a little bit, 10 years, it would last you. Now it's like 1-2 years, and then you're on to the next camera and the next best thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so, yeah, but I mean, it's been good talking to you, man.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you coming on, man. Like I said, you've been a big help to MonsterLink and been part of MonsterLink's success.
Thank you.
We hope to continue to grow and grow together. You got a lot of great ideas. I know you and I have talked about other things and crypto and other stuff. That's what I like. You have the entrepreneurship spirit and stuff like that. Anything else that you'd like to share, like for people that are looking at this and saying, man, I'm kind of on the fence. My mom really doesn't think that filmmaking is a job. What can you say to that person?
Yes, do it. Yes, do it. Be focused, be professional, and don't say, just do it, okay? And show the rest. Show the world what you're capable to do. There's always going to be that sentiment from other people, that can tell you, like, nah, you're not going to make it. Unfortunately, there's more haters. Okay, there's more negative people than positive people. My advice: be the positive one. Okay, be the positive one and be responsible for your own things. Okay, and if your mom is telling you that you're not going to be able to make it or whatever, don't listen to that. Okay, show to your family that you can do it, okay? But at the end of the day, it's you.
So what is one question that I like to ask? I know El Paso's come a long way from when we first started, right? We've come a long way. We're doing great in a lot of senses. But what does El Paso have to do to take it to the next level, to like an Austin or like a Houston, so we can give more opportunities to some of the younger people?
I think we're on a pretty good spot, okay? Since the incentives that are passing, happening in Las Cruces, and all that stuff. I think it just, it's just a matter of time, okay? Doing the right thing, people, making more videos, people, having a more like our films, film society, have everyone, working together on more projects, okay? And sending it to festivals, putting more stuff on YouTube, Vimeo, that way people, they get to know that it's El Paso, okay? I've been noticing, like, El Paso is on everything now, you watch Netflix.
You've seen a few films that came out, that El Paso's been coming out. Simi was just on the podcast before this, and he's working on the Blue Beetle. He was working on the art for the Blue Beetle, and he was saying that they shot it in Puerto Rico because of a lot of the film politics. And that I know that New Mexico's opened up with like a lot of the incentives for people to come in and film and stuff like that. But I know it's still a hurdle. It's something we have to work on. The community's growing, like you said. There's more and more film people, man. But I do see us starting to adapt, doing things like this, man. Highlighting people, pushing the culture, the Latino community, to go to that next level. Because a lot of the times we're very prideful and we want to work on our own, But there's also value in us working together because there's power. We have a lot of numbers and people that we have. What do you see, like, what's the next step, like, that we can take? Because I know there's a lot of very talented people that live along here in the border. What can we do as business owners to help them?
Support each other. Support each other, let's support each other. That's the most important thing, If you support each other, it's teamwork. You know what I mean? If you want to be by yourself, that's good, but don't do it because you're a hater, okay? Do it because probably, you have your own plan and you want to do it, okay? So helping each other, I think is the key.
Yeah, no, you've always, told, there's about 80,000, like when I was working at iHeart, they would tell us there's 80,000 businesses in El Paso.
Wow.
So there's plenty of work for everybody.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
There's no need for people to feel like, oh man, like they're going to take my clients if I take my secrets. I always tell people, I'll tell you all my secrets.
Yeah.
There's going to be one ingredient that you're going to have a hard time with, which is the work and
Oh, yeah.
keeping up with the amount of hours that we're pumping into what we're doing.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff like that. Man.
It's you know, it's about, you know, yeah, it's not like there's a secret, you know, it's pretty much putting the time, putting the work, you know what I mean? Because everybody knows, you know, everybody, you know, you can tell everyone what's pretty much is a secret, okay? There's no luck, okay?
Yeah.
You make your own luck, okay?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
make your own destiny, you know? If you're being negative and you wake up negative, it's like, yeah, the economy, yeah, this, yeah, that, you know? You're never going to be able to make it, you know, and there's never going to be the right time, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I'll make a movie whenever I get the new Red or Alexa camera, you know, no. Just do it, okay? Because if you're always looking for the right time, there's never going to be the right time, you know?
Yeah.
You have to do it, you know? You have to do it. You have to stand up and, you know, if it's going to be tomorrow, start working on it and do it, okay? Because there's never going to be the right time. It's like a diet, okay? It's like, yeah, I'll start on Monday. No, you know, if it's Thursday, start on Thursday. You know what I mean? And that's it, okay?
Yeah.
You know, just do it, okay? Don't take too long.
So there it is, man. There it is, El Paso. Like, that's great. That's what I love about you, man. You're very positive, and even when somebody has a question that may bring up something like what are we doing wrong, you're just always pushing towards the positive shit. So
thank you.
I appreciate
Thank
it,
you,
Heber.
brother.
Thanks for taking your time out of your busy day. I know you're busy, and thanks for taking the time to come on and support, and also to share your story with us. It was really insightful, and there's a lot of really good nuggets that I know that even if we touch one person or we inspire one person through these talks, that's what the whole goal is, man. So thanks again for coming through, man. So
thank you so much,
thanks
brother.
again,
Okay,
brother.
appreciate it. Thank you for the
Gracias.
invitation, and thank you everyone on the crew. Okay?
Yeah, gracias.
Thank you. Okay.
So
Thank
all right, guys, that's it. That's another episode of Monster Talks. Make sure you guys subscribe, follow Axess Multimedia, follow MonsterLink online on social media. Drop a comment. Let us know what more you want to see on these types of stuff, man. And we're here for you guys. So let us know. Till the next time. Heber, thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Hey,
okay.
Thanks to the crew. All right.
Thank you.